quick content note here before we begin this episode of What Am I Rolling? This episode's one-shot, Shadow of Mogg, is a politically themed RPG, which focuses on survival and exploration. As such, we'll be touching on various mature themes and perhaps some dark and difficult subject matter, which some listeners may not wish to listen to. Specific content warnings for this one-shot include politically motivated violence, body horror, and dystopian themes. If you aren't in a good headspace just now and want to avoid these topics, please feel free to skip any part or all of this one-shot. Thanks again, and stay safe, my friends. Hello, and welcome to What Am I Rolling, a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast, hosted by me, Fiona. This is part 2 of Shadow of Mogg, so make sure you listen to the first part before continuing on with this episode. To briefly recap, David, Ben and JT are playing Bobby, Maggie and Jason, 3 members of the Ramona's party who have banded together in order to eke out survival in an underground society turned inward against itself. They are currently on their way to Mogg's End, where there have been rumours of parties disappearing without a trace. However, they have been hampered somewhat by the sudden death of Bobby due to some incredibly bad dice rolling. Remember, everything the party does in Shadow of Mogg is voted on and then resolved by the party as a whole, not the individual. This comes in 2 stages: the vote, where the characters vote for the course of action, and the resolution, where that action is resolved. In the vote stage, a player must make a proposition to be discussed by the party and then voted on. The vote is then counted by the speaker, aka the GM, and the result is enacted if the majority votes for it. Depending on the proposition being accepted, it can also be enshrined into the party manifesto, i.e., such an act does not require voting in future in order to enact it. If the proposition is rejected, then another proposition may be made, but this new proposition must be different from the former one. In the resolution stage, the party members may be required to make party resolution rolls in order to enact the course of action they've chosen. Here, each member has to create a dice pool of d6s, which will be rolled from a combination of their stats, skills, stuff, and mates. In addition, a number of dice equal to the party's anxiety are added together to form a separate d6 pool, which will be rolled by the speaker. Whilst keeping all the dice separate, the party must look for the highest die result amongst all the dice rolled, including the party anxiety dice. If the highest result was a 6, the party action has succeeded. If the highest result was a 5, party action partially succeeds, but at a cost. If the highest result was a 2, 3 or 4, party action fails. And in the unlikely situation that the highest result of all the dice was a 1, well, the party action critically fails, with severe consequences. In fact, rolling a 1 in general in Shadow of Mogg can lead to dire consequences for party members, depending on which die was rolled. For example, rolling a 1 can lead to reducing an important stat, breaking equipment, or losing mates. If a 1 is rolled on the party anxiety dice, the party action has failed irrespective of other die results, and the speaker must roll a d6 plus party anxiety on the party upper lip table. This represents the party going into panic, leading to severe consequences. There are so many cool and interesting game mechanics, which unfortunately didn't come up on the stream, and also I don't really have time here to cover them all. However, if you want to know more, I highly recommend checking out Shadow of Mogg from Ley Line Press. I think some of the mechanics are really interesting, and I wish I had more time to go through them and play them. As you may have guessed it, this one-shot is a little bit different to our previous one-shots, as I ran it live for the Drunken Storyteller podcast on their Twitch channel. This episode's audio was taken from that livestream and has been edited down for time and to take out the midstream breaks. You can watch the original, unedited stream on the Drunken Storyteller YouTube channel. A massive thank you to the Drunken Storyteller podcast for allowing me to run this particular one-shot on the Twitch channel. The Drunken Storyteller is a podcast where David, who plays Bobby in this one-shot, explores the world's myths, legends and stories, whilst while having a few drinks. If you're interested in diving deep into folklore, then I highly recommend checking this podcast out. One last thing before we begin. Naturally, there are times in this one-shot where the players and myself, mostly myself, get the rules wrong or forget something plot-wise. Whilst we always endeavour to stick to the rules wherever possible, at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. And what matters most is that everyone enjoys themselves. So, without further ado, let's play Shadow of Mogg. Our two and a half members of the Ramonas party trundle along.
Hang on, Mr. Cleaver is a full member of the party there, not a half.
Mr. Cleaver has tasted blood. This means he is entitled.
Well, it's not in the party laws on a thing, but okay.
We are forming the manifesto as we go.
Yes, absolutely. So, the three remaining members of the Ramonas party slowly but surely trudge their way towards Euston Station. And you get there with all the successes you did have before Bobby perished at the end. So you did make it to Euston Station, and you see an interesting sight when you get there. You get to the platform, essentially, where the Victoria line meets the Northern line, essentially. And on the platform, you see a huge blackboard which rests upon the station's walls. There is a teacher in front of it, and you can see there's lots of little students. So they're sitting there looking expectantly at the teacher as the teacher is writing stuff on the blackboard. As you guys get closer to it and your light from your juice lights up what was a pitch black room, a pitch black station platform, you can see a couple of things. So the blackboard itself, there seems to be a detailed historical timeline sort of etched out of a place. And there's big letters at the top that seem to refer to this whole realm or this sort of timeline as Middle Earth. The timeline itself, you can see there's like this discussing of rise and fall of empires, horrendous attacks by something called orcs. You've never heard of those folks before. The fall of kingdoms of dwarves and elves, and the rise of the kingdoms of man. You can see the teacher who's just like jotting stuff down, looking ever so often to the children on the floor. There's a huge, large paperback book as a reference. Both of you can see the words on it. Now a major motion picture written on the book itself. But what draws your eye immediately is that sat in amongst the children, looking expectantly at the board, looks like the form and shape of Bobby.
Jason, I don't wish to alarm you.
No, I'm alarmed.
Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, good. You're seeing it too. I thought I was having a stroke. That's fantastic. I thought my time had come and I was going to go to be with my Albert, but you see him too.
We didn't. Did we eat yet today? Was there something in that?
You've not eaten yet today.
We've not eaten yet today. It's clearly hunger. So we didn't just watch Bobby impale himself on Mr. Cleaver's head.
As you are having this conversation, the form that looks like Bobby, the head slowly turns to look at you. And as it turns, you notice that one eye has a bandage over it. And he turns around, there's a little bit of blood pouring down the face. And he goes, "Oh, hi guys. Thank you for leaving me back there. It was such a nice lie down that I had. But that Molly has really perked me up. You are wonderful people for picking me up in such a wonderful manner. Shall we get going?"
So, for the other players, we did roll again. David got the same bloody number. And then we realized that David has a special ability called Jammy, which means you can re-roll a 1 on any of the things. So we re-rolled the 1 that killed him, and he got a 6. So he's completely fine.
I'm just missing an eye.
Yeah.
I don't often advocate this, Jason.
On drugs.
But if today is the day that you would really like to get your revenge, I have a rolling pin here, and I'll distract the children whilst you finish the job. Because clearly, Bobby is Satan.
As you say that, an idea comes through my mind, and I sort of try to get the attention of all the. How does this mechanically? How does this work? If I want to sort of create a situation, we have to all vote on it.
If you propose any sort of action that will have like a consequence, you can propose stuff to it. But you don't. You could be like, we could do this, this, and this, and then you could be easy to go, I propose this. I'll give you that sort of signposting thing if you want to do that.
Okay. Yeah. I would like to. Basically, I want to try to convince all of the children here that that Bobby is the sort of like avatar of Sauron from the history that they're currently learning, and he's spying.
Well, I do have the all-seeing eye, just the one eye.
Is this game just going to become how we keep killing Bobby at every station we arrive at? And Bobby just won't die.
Oh my god. Oh. So Jason, you've eloquently put this proposal. I'm going to give it to...
Can I add into the proposal idea? Like taking that, obviously it's not an actual proposal, but as this happens, the children all just suddenly turn around and realise that Bobby is sat there, having not noticed that Bobby was actually there.
So yeah, so I rolled. I got you to roll this before. I got them to do a reaction roll to the party coming in, and they have sort of dealt with it because they couldn't see you because it was pitch black per se. They could feel something was there, and they sort of look around and they're like, and they kind of don't want to do, but the teacher is forcing them to, like, it's very important, this sort of history, So they're very wary of you, but they're not hostile. But they're sort of they're like children being like, who's that? Don't know. Don't look. Essentially. Sauron. Yeah, exactly. They're frightened. They're wary and frightened. I love it. But fuck it, I'm going to put that proposal up. Like, Maggie, do you have anything to add to this proposal of in convincing the children that this Bobby is Sauron?
I'd like to take it one step further.
Yep.
Which is that, yes, convince them that this Bobby is Sauron, and thus we are the Fellowship and need their help.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay.
And the One Ring is the jam roly-poly. Because there's only one of it left.
Oh, amazing. Bobby, is there anything you want to add to this proposal? Because technically, you're still part of the party.
Even if we're not apparently intent. I'm just kidding.
As this kind of happens, I stand up, I fling my arms. Because I have a skill in Tai Chi and a little bit of hench, I start doing moves and start to pretend that I'm like this big, strong fighter and really powerful and scary, and put on a deep voice, the voice that I use to control the boardroom of HSBC, and you will pay attention to me, and just become this overbearing, scary, because these two fuckers killed me and left me.
So you're agreeing with this proposal? I'm just double checking, yes. Bobby. Okay.
Because I see Sauron as a good figure. They had power and control, and they ruled an empire.
Yep.
Until the little free fuckers turned up and wanted free markets and wanted to, like, just happy little people, and wouldn't share their pipe weed. Fuck them.
Fair enough. Everyone can vote secretly towards me. I assume Mr. Cleaver is going to be voting along party lines. Yeah, just getting an...
Already had a taste of blood once more.
If Mr. Cleaver claims 2 eyes, that means that he has 2 eyes. Who knows what would be unlocked if that were to happen?
Oh my god! Oh no! Yay!
Yeah. It's 3. It's unanimous.
No, it's gonna be a 4 because Mr. Cleaver's also voting.
Yeah, so it's unanimously passed.
It is unanimously passed. I will ask though, is this something you want to put into party law? And what I mean by that is any proposal that passed can also be made as part of the manifesto. So I propose to the members of the Ramonas that any person you meet, it doesn't have to be these children, but any sort of NPC, you can convince them that you have Sauron in the party. That just so happens to be Bobby.
This is going in. I am the evil overlord now.
We are escorting him to where we will defeat him at Mount Doom.
at Mogg's End.
Mogg's End, yeah.
All right, JT, can you please write that into the law? So what that means now, so that should you don't ever have to vote on that again. So if you need to convince somebody that Bobby is Sauron, you don't need to vote on it again. It has happened essentially. So that is brilliant. Cool. Bobby is Sauron. Party law. Perfect. So. Now that we've sort of done that, we now need to do the resolution roll. So same thing, same procedure again. So a relevant stat that you think is useful to that. I'm going to leave it up to your discretion on this one. So it could be any stat you want to use. With that, you may choose to add in a relevant skill, a relevant stuff item, and or a relevant mate. And we'll go around again and justify what you're doing to do this. I mean, you kind of already said it, but I'm just going to do it anyway, just so that we get into the habit of it. So we'll go the opposite way around, if that's all right. So, Bobby, what are you putting in, and how are you going to try and convince these children to help your Ramona's team?
I think I'm going to use Noggin.
Noggin? That worked so well for you last time.
No, because I used Bants last time.
Oh, that's true.
Was the problem.
Of course.
This one I've got. I'm going to keep the stats that I had from dying, even though he's technically a new character, but kind of not. So I've got 2 in Noggin, and I'm going to use Free Market, which is another Noggin skill, which is another 2. So I've got 4. And I'm going to use it to convince the children of the joys of a free market and free trade where we can get the goblins and the Orokai to work for us and produce and have the production of steel and weaponry. And how they will work for us, and then we can expand the empire, and we can go above ground when we've got this workforce that is building for us. And it's all about everybody working together. And then I'm just going to also slightly flash my Rolex to show that I have the riches and I have already gained these people
shinies
who can help me. Look, I've already got the shinies.
Gold. It's Dwarven Gold.
Yep.
Maybe that's the ring. That's the ring-shaped piece of gold.
If the jam roly-poly doesn't work, absolutely.
I don't. What is it? What is a jam roly-poly? Sorry, American.
Jam roly-poly is. Oh my God, David's doing a blindfold.
Before you describe what the jam roly-poly is, David, I just want to double check.
None of them are long enough.
I'm going to ask, are you putting in 2 noggins or are you putting in 1? Because you can choose up to 1, up to your thing. You're putting 2 in. Good to know. All right. Continue. What is roly-poly?
Total of 4.
Jam roly-poly is a very thin sponge.
So the thin sponge with jam and cream, but it's rolled round. So on the side, it looks like a roly-poly, essentially.
You might call it a roulade or things like that. It has like a lot of similar names. A lot of other things have like a similar technique in it. So occasionally, like Baked Alaska, the sponge will have that's the roulade
at the bottom.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's basically a very basic bitch baking thing that the British people do.
Don't listen to them, Mr. Cleaver. The jam roly-poly's iconic.
So mechanically as a party, we were working together, but so Bobby is Sauron, but we aren't Sauron's friends.
I'd say you're trying to get help. From what it sounded like, you're trying to convince these children, this teacher, whatever, to come and to help you on your journey towards Mogg's End. That's what I'm taking from that, if that's helpful.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to use all 3 of my hench and all 3 of my union eyes to convince the children that they are part of the Hobbit militia, or representing the Hobbit militia that is going to help escort Sauron to Mogg's End. And then I'm going to add 1 more for a total of 7 dice with my stack of leaflets as I pass out my recruitment flyers. We need you.
So what we've done here basically is you're convincing them to be part of the Hobbit uprising, and I've also trying to convince them to be part of Mordor, basically, and become part of that worker force. So we're basically appealing to both sides of them.
Well, so also, we're demonstrating the danger that Sauron is.
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic. I absolutely love that, Jason. That's 100% approved on me. Finally, Maggie, what are you bringing to this?
So it's Bants 3, because Maggie is a talker. And then it's the only band skill I have is cheery services. So I'm gonna be the Samwise this party, which is that it's a great burden that we carry, but we do so with love in our hearts. It's a literal cheery service. With obviously Mr. Cleaver supporting this because kids love a puppet. That's the first time I've heard Fiona full-on guffaw laughs in 15 games with them. And then I'm going to sort of pass around some of the jam roly-poly because kids love sugar and hopped up Hobbit militia sounds like the best thing imaginable.
Amazing.
So that is 3 + 2 + 1 + 1 for 7.
Fantastic. All right. So again, roll your pools of dice and make a note of any of the highest number, but of any ones and what stat or thing they refer to. Oh, I think, and I need to roll 2 stress die as well.
Not my fault. No ones.
What was yours, David?
2 6s.
All right, 2 successes.
Okay. On my first
And 1 5.
Okay.
yeah, on my first one, which is my stat, I get 1 6.
Yep.
On my second one, which is my cheery services, I get a pair of 6s.
Nice.
On Mr. Cleaver, I get a 3, and then on the Jam Roly Poly, I get a 1.
Okay, Jam Roly Poly, you get a 1.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
I didn't poison it.
No, I suspect it's more that they polish it off.
Yes, it basically reduces it down to 0. So down by 1, essentially, which I assume is gone.
Yeah, it's only a 1, the Jam Roly Poly.
Then, yeah, you lose that, unfortunately. But yes, good to know. And Jason.
Yes. So my highest, so I got 3 total hits, all 5s.
Nice.
I rolled a 1 on one of my hench, excuse me. So I think that takes me down to 2 hench from 3.
Yep.
And then I also rolled a 1 on my stack of leaflets, so I do not have those anymore.
Yeah, you've handed them all out at this point. Yeah, very good. And I rolled...
used as serviettes for Jam Roly Poly face.
Yeah, they hold the you give it out and you give the Jam Roly Poly. That's amazing. I have also rolled the anxiety dice as well, but you've got all the successes you need, except it's 3 successes that you need on the 6, and you've all done that, so that's amazing. Unfortunately, though, I did roll a 1 on the party anxiety die. The party must roll on the party upper lip table. So anyone can roll a d6 + 2 and let me know what the final result is.
You don't know this. I say you don't know this about me yet. About me yet, JT. But I have the devil's own luck.
It balances out my bad luck.
Yeah, I activate as the anti-David. If myself and Will Wheaton ever meet, Will Wheaton's curse will be removed, but my luck will go with it.
Yes.
So, would you like me to roll this?
Yes, please.
I'll give you a hint. A lower number is preferred.
I'll roll it.
And we're adding +2 to this result. Is that correct?
Adding +2 to the result, please. Yeah.
That's a 1.
Excellent. So you get a 3.
Yeah.
A 3 total. Our lips cannot remain stiff much longer. Tickety-boo, nap for an owl chap from no effect. So that's very good. So I guess maybe you're a bit overwhelmed by stuff. You had the kids as they get very excited with the promise of reading, the early end of class, and Jam Roly Poly. It's like a sea of basically
going on an adventure.
And
They're
going on an
adventure.
I think for Maggie, it's a moment of like Maggie, who was again grandma of 7, is looking down at all these kids and wondering what has happened to her grandchildren out in the world, and you just sort of see like Mr. Cleaver just like.
So you've convinced the children, and this teacher is like, "Oh, thank God," and sort of wanders off. And it's like, "Oh, I don't have to deal
your
with
problem now."
Yeah. So what I will say, one of you can have as mates a sea of small children. They will count for 1 because they're small. It's a sort of mechanic thing, but you can't have any more mates equal to your bants, if you see what I mean. So
may I claim the small children for Molly?
Well, I was going to actually put it up to a roll.
Okay, yeah.
And say we all claim, so we'll all claim a reason why they should be ours.
Yes, let's do
pitch.
Yeah, of course. I'm so stupid. We have to have a democracy vote about it, you fucking idiot.
It's democracy. We all put forward the reason why we should be have them as our underlings.
The thing is, though, I'm going to let this happen, but I'm already aware who's going to win.
Fiona, shush! They didn't realise. I am 2 people.
But you know what? I want to hear the proposals, so I'll let.
To put the proposals for us. That's the point of the game.
It is true, Bobby.
It's also rigged.
Bobby, why should these children be your mates?
I am the Overlord. I am Sauron. If they follow me, they have a means of production. They have the army that will take over the world. We will go above ground. We will claim back that right, and we will lord over those people who still remain underground. We will be the rulers of the new world. And I'm trying to think of a Lord of the Rings quote that will fit here from Sauron, and my brain is just melted with the heat, so it doesn't really work. But
that's fine. Don't worry. Jason.
Oh, I'm throwing a wrench in this. I also propose that the minion pack is Bobby's because I was rolling with Henshin Unionize. Is I want to unionize the little orcs to eventually take him down from inside, and so they will be his. Hopefully,
fantastic. Maggie,
I love it, but also hate it.
So Maggie would like to put forward the idea that Maggie has raised many children that have then produced many grandchildren, so knows how to sacrifice it. 2, everyone knows it's the old character that brings about the downfall of the great evil by hiring younger people to do the work for them, then showing up at the last minute with all the added experience to just push it over the edge. So clearly, myself and Mr. Cleaver are the best bet to handle these children, because none of you... Also, he has no depth perception. How is he going to spot trouble coming for these kids?
That's why he has kids. Minions.
We have kids. We have an army for that.
We are not forming an infantry.
All right. Settle down, party members. My God. All right. So the proposal we're voting on first is that Bobby should take on the small sea of children as their mates. So can I get the votes in for that, please?
I've also just realised that the new Minion movie is coming out, and there's King Bob.
King Bob.
Therefore, I win anyway because.
Yeah. Well, guess what, folks? It's a tie.
I think the speaker should decide.
Oh no! Don't give me that. I'm not. I'm a neutral. Like the Speaker of the House. I'm supposed to be neutral as well. But I've got to be fair on this. So, because we've done the Bobby's one, so we can't vote on that again today. So we'll go for Maggie's one. So, if the Sea of Children should be part of Maggie's mates brigade, can I get a vote for that, please? Unsurprisingly, it's a tie.
My votes always come with a reason.
So Jason kind of smirks a little smugly and suggests that since neither of you two were able to convince the children to follow your lead, that we should vote on having them follow my lead.
Ooh, devious. All right. So voting for Jason's proposal that Jason should take the Sea of Children.
What is Jason's proposal, and why should Jason be their leader?
Because I have a lot of experience with organizing, organizing activist stuff. I have door-to-door activism, chasing fox hunters, leaflet making, and I feel like I could get a lot of help with leaflet making since I'm now out of leaflets to grow this sort of pack of children that want to help us out in the underground. And then I'm good at unionizing, so I have all the skill sets, I have the experience for doing all of this, and it really places me as the correct and right choice in this proposal.
All right.
You haven't got my response before you'd even finished.
Jason.
However, I feel I've been outvoted.
3-2, I'm assuming. The motion pass, and you can add to your sheets sea of small children, 1. They count as 1. And so the children are like, hooray! Adventure! Union!
Union! You know that you can actually just pick up a group of children and have them follow you.
Yeah, they're around with you. But unfortunately, you can't. So the final bong sort of goes, and you realise that a night has now fallen, and you think it's safer to stay in this particular area with the children. And because it's Euston as well, it is a safe zone. So the children sort of snuggle up next to you. They'll take the blackboard down and they'll switch it to their entertainment stuff. I don't know what it is now, like a math.
It's a pre-drawn picture of a little girl playing noughts and crosses on a blackboard.
Yes. There's time out essentially.
Yeah.
There's no more lessons today. Yeah, the teacher does not return essentially because you're in a safe zone. You don't need to do any awareness check or anything like that. You don't need to be on watch. The children are actually very good and sit around and stuff like that. So I will now fast forward to the next day. So first things first. The light has now sort of ended. So if you want to get back to that sort of, what did I say? It was like a darkly dimmed, I think it was called. I can't remember what I said. You need to use your juice again. Shadowy, sorry. So it's currently pitch dark as you wake up and get ready for the day. So I would like to know if you would like to do a juice check to increase the light so that you can hopefully be able to get on with your day.
I think we have to because of the children.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to derail this campaign any further, but technically you need to make a vote on it. So I'm going to ask then if you want to vote on every morning that you use a juice to get ahead and light the thing, you can write it into party law. So is that something that folks would like to do?
I would, at least until we run out of it.
Yeah.
And then I would like to make the amendment that when we run out of it, we will attempt to barter rather, for more juice at the next safe zone.
Exactly. That's what probably will happen.
I'm good with that.
All right. So for those, we'll just do an open one because it'll just be easier. For those in favour of using juice every morning to increase the light level, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I see the children and Mr. Cleaver also say aye. So that passes. As if you could write that into the party manifesto, JT, that'd be great. So that basically every morning we use a juice roll. I just realised because otherwise we're just going to be constantly going around in circles and never getting to Mogg's end.
Oh my God, I just realised that the juice is Eladriel's light.
And they're like, woo, children. Woo. All right. So yes, so you need 3 successes to go forward. Okay. So you can move 4 stops again. Which direction do you want to go? Essentially,
we need to go down, don't we?
South.
Yeah,
now
south.
We're on the northern line now, aren't we? So the black line, just for people who don't know.
Is there any?
Bobby is not going to be argumentative at this point.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So you'd get to Angel.
2, 3, 4. It's actually faster for us to go across to Waterloo, down to Stratford, and then from Stratford to Mogg End, running that way. It's more lines, but it's faster by an entire day.
So are you putting a proposal up, Maggie?
Yeah, I propose that we travel across to the Jubilee line and then down to the Central line, and then from the Central line on to District, because the Stratford to Aldwych is one entire thing. There's nothing. Oh no, is that Liverpool Lime Street on both there? Liverpool Street, is that on both, the yellow and the red?
Yes, it is, yes.
Okay, I think it's about the same then. 1 minute, I just can't again, I missed that.
That's okay. That's all right.
3, 4. It is a day faster to do it this way.
So that's the proposal, is to use that route.
Yeah.
It's much quicker to go across
and then down. Yeah.
Also, I don't know what it means, but all the black stops are danger stops, and that doesn't sound good. So I also agree with this proposal.
Bobby's all for danger.
Well, at least one of the stops is a danger stop for us on this route as well, because we'll go to Canada Water and then Liverpool Street, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 Bailiff Park right before Mogg End.
Hang on, where are we seeing these? Is it just that they're slightly longer?
So no, remember, you can move. You'll be able to in each day. You move 4 stops.
4 stops, yeah. So
I know. I'm trying to see how we identify the danger stops. Is it because
it's a dash. It's a dash.
Oh, I was thinking it was only black dashes. No, never mind.
All dashes.
Yeah, never mind. Okay.
But
they're all dashes.
No,
the safe zones are the circles.
Yeah.
So you're at a safe zone currently.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we'd have to stop at Waterloo.
Yeah.
No.
Then stop at. If we wanted to be safe, we'd go to Waterloo, stop at Waterloo, then go to Stratford.
Yes.
And then have to stop. We're going to have to stop at a danger zone at some point.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so I will say, so you can move up to 4 stops. You don't have to. I just assume that you wanted to get there quicker. But obviously, if you just want to get, hey, we just want to get to Waterloo.
Spaces.
Yeah, that's fine as well.
Bobby's going to put forward the motion that we stop at the safe zones, because Bobby has money. and people will want the money off him. And because I've not been given the army to protect myself with now, Bobby will be attacked, and which means you will be attacked. Therefore, for our own group's safety and my safety, we should stop at as many safe zones as possible along the way. And I'm putting forward that as a motion to keep the group safe because I'm a target.
All right, fair enough. So that is the proposal. Does anyone have anything to add for or against it?
I suggest we stop at safe zones, not because anyone gives a rat's arse about Bobby's money, but because we have small children with us.
Yes, Jason. I also agree. Whereas I might have sort of reflexively disagreed with Bobby on principle before the children's safety comes first. So,
all right. All those in favour of Bobby's proposal to stop at safe zones when we're travelling?
yay.
Motion passed completely. Do you want to put that into party manifesto law? You can, because it's been passed unanimously.
I suggest not, just because we can't always do it, and it will mean that in the future we are tied to an action that we can't always maintain.
It was to stop at safety zones if we can.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So phrase it in a way that we can stop. We need to stop at safety zones.
Perfect.
If it's possible,
Yeah,
that they are the preferred kind of place to stop.
Perfect. Yep, easy enough. Yep, easy. That's into the party manifesto. Not a problem. So you passed that. Well done. Let's do food now. So I keep forgetting. So it's breakfast. It's morning.
Yep.
You've had a whole day without food, but the kids are a bit hungry as well. So we're going to do a scran roll. So you have 5 scran, which is a D12.
Mm-hmm.
So all of you will need to at least roll scran and take and eat from there. But also your mates will have to do it as well. Including Mr. Cleaver.
Of course.
The children will only take 1 roll, so you don't need to remember. But because both Mr. Cleaver, I think because Mr. Cleaver, the assistant's small, if they get 1s, they can re-roll. We'll go, we'll do obviously party members first, if that's all right. So Maggie, if you can roll a D12.
I get a 6.
6, so it's fine, it doesn't reduce.
You know how hard it is to see different types of dice when you've only got 1 eye.
Well, that's not my problem.
Mr. Cleaver gets a 12.
Oh, fantastic. So, stays the same. Jason, sorry.
I got a Gandalf rune on the 1 ring D12.
So that's a 12.
12.
Yeah, nice.
12,
So, and for the children?
Children got a 3.
Yeah, so they're fine. They scoff at it, but they're okay. They don't eat it all. You managed to stop them from doing that. And then finally, last but not least, Bobby. Did you roll a 1?
You can re-roll it once a day.
Yeah, you've got your jammy thing.
I can do, but I'm going to ask a question here.
Of course.
Of Jason, and this will make me decide whether I'm going to re-roll it.
Okay.
Are you having one of your cups of coffee?
Yes.
I'm not re-rolling.
All right. So the food.
I can see Jason having a cup of coffee, and I am now having the twitches because I have not had caffeine for so long.
So you eat a few more bits and pieces. So so that D12 goes down to a D10 now for your scran. So any propositions to be like where you go? Because obviously we know it's a safe zone if possible.
Well, we can get to today. Stratford.
Waterloo, isn't it?
Waterloo. Sorry, we can get to Waterloo today, which is a safe one.
Waterloo.
All right. So the proposition
if anyone
from
got a band, we can sing Waterloo.
the children sing along with you like karaoke. Okay. So the proposition
Got morale.
is. The proposition is to go to Waterloo as your next destination. Is any fours or against from the rest of the party?
4.
I think we're all 4.
Yeah.
4. Those in favour?
Yay.
Nice.
Passed. All right. Let's do the navigation roll. So I need a relevant stat. This will be noggin. I think that's what I say for rolling things. A relevant skill, mates if you want to include them, and stuff as well. And I roll 2 anxiety die.
Okay. So I'm going to roll noggin to admin 1 because we're now dealing with a group of children, and this is not Maggie's first time being a field trip
Not her
supervisor.
first rodeo.
I'm going to include the rolling pin weapon because now Maggie's on high alert and is ready for protecting children. And that's everything for me because that's going to be a nice decent 3-5. So I'll be having 5 dice.
Fantastic. Jason.
Okay, so I still think hench makes the most sense because it's tied to unionize,
Mhm.
and I'm currently children, so that would be 2 in hench, 3 in unionize is 5. I have an interesting, not game rule, but I think it makes sense in the context of what we're doing, is I would like to roll the children minions because they would help us navigate. However, due to previously discussed lines and bells, I am going to permanently sacrifice my cucumber sandwich to make sure the children minions are all 6.
I think that's great. Yep, happy with that one. And Bobby.
Oh, I'm going to use Noggin because it's my best one. I'm also going to use Free Market because I'm going to teach the children about how best to exploit people around them so they can, if they ever get separated from the group, they know how to get what they need off the people around them. And with that, I'm going to use my briefcase of notes of money to explain the idea of bartering and trading and how best to kind of get the best deal. So if you do ever end up lost
Have
and
you
alone
got
within
your
the tunnels and
Bible
away
out,
from
which
people,
is the art of the deal by chance?
no comment. And so, yeah, that's going to give me 5 dice.
Perfect.
Basically,
All right.
I'm going to teach them to be happy little capitalists.
All right, roll your dice for me, please. I've rolled my anxiety dice. You're okay.
I get 1 success, 0 twos. 0 ones, sorry.
There was no worries.
Jason got 3 successes,
Nice.
but I did roll a 1 on my unionize. So kids
so your skill doesn't reduce. Your skills don't reduce. Yeah, that's the only one that doesn't reduce. Everything else will reduce because they're like actual things, but because you're specialist in it.
It's a learned ability.
Yeah. So no problems on that front. So nice one. And Bobby. Oh no.
The photo is still loading in Discord.
Oh
Jesus.
What's wrong with you?
My internet connection, apparently, because it's taking bloody ages. And it's not a large photo.
All I see is I hate my life.
Yeah.
You have to describe.
So my banknotes, they didn't run off with them. They realised that the money was actually useless, but they understood the concept of it.
Right.
So they understood the concept of it, and they kind of got the idea of it. But they also think that I'm a bit of an idiot.
Yeah.
And that they can do it better because I got 2 6s.
Nice.
1 in my noggin and 1 in my free trade. So they understood free trade and got it all the way through. However, I also rolled a 1 and a 1 in both of those.
But your skill doesn't go down.
So they now know how to do it better than I do.
I was going to say your skill doesn't go down, but your stat will do. But go on, what were you going to say?
I would like to put forward a proposal.
Yes.
Because these kids are firm believers in unionization, and the union needs pamphlets. And what is paper but a ready supply? What is money but a ready supply of paper?
I did not roll a 1 on that dice. That dice is safe.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the stat. The stat was the one that got reduced, unfortunately.
So they understand that the money is useless, and so they're happy for me to keep it.
Yeah.
They understood it as the tool to describe what I was describing, but saw that what it is in modern society and how it works now, it is absolutely pointless.
Yeah.
Despite my protestations of the fact. But they're also now better happy capitalists than I am and will use the knowledge against me because they are also a union.
Union capitalists!
Brilliant. All right. So, yes, so you succeed. So you make it to Waterloo, essentially.
Waterloo, and I failed to teach children how to do. I think I massively succeeded to teach children at capitalism, didn't I?
If anything,
so much so that they.
The children patronize you, essentially. They're like, that's nice, dear. And actually, they're very, very smart. It turns out that history lesson was just basically just wanted a break from the hard maths and computer programming they had been doing, essentially.
That teacher has been doing Python on a blackboard.
Yeah.
These fuckers have computers?
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. They've been doing Python on the blackboard.
Yeah. But there's a difference engine somewhere.
Fortran 77.
Anyway,
They've got to go back to the old fucking punch machines.
you make your way slowly but surely, getting further and further eastward. So you go past, oh God, is that Corvus Street? It's too far away. You eventually get to Waterloo.
Corvus Street, then Tottenham, then Waterloo.
Tottenham. There you go. So yes, you can pass those things, and as it's almost like you travel by map as you go. You can sort of slowly see, and it's sort of like.
Sorry, it's a Londoner. It's Tottenham. Sorry, that's a Midland thing, not a London thing. But Tottenham.
Anyways, you pass the signs, and then eventually you get to the big sign that says Waterloo. And around Waterloo, actually, there are, again, you can tell it's a safe zone. There's lots of barricades and stuff that the children help. They're actually pretty clued up. These kids, they've survived this long, and they're like a well-oiled machine. So Jason, you feel
they'd
very
have made
secure.
a great army.
But they're also talking to each other and talking about their feelings and like how important it is for the union to go ahead and all that sort of jazz. But more importantly, you get to the Waterloo platform where it connects the Victoria line to the Jubilee line. And with a flash of light and a low humming sound, a police telephone box suddenly appears and materializes from thin air in front of you. And it's weird. On the thing itself, it sort of says words, and you would all hear this from stories. This is the Sidrat. Yes, the Sidrat, that's what it's called. It's a time travel device, and you know that as you go around it, you try and knock on it, you try and open it, it seems to be impenetrable. And looking at it, and I think Bobby would do this as well, because you have keys to a Mercedes. You can see there is a lock on it, but your keys don't fit in it. You think that only a certain person would be able to possess and unlock this particular box.
So it appeared before us. We didn't walk into it. It's just like there was an empty space.
Say, it materialized in front of you. There's a horrible noise. Yeah.
Because it's the inverse version.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes, it is inverse for copyright reasons, I'm sure.
I'm guessing there's someone running around going, Scaled.
It's curious. There doesn't seem to be anyone here currently.
So we've gone around, knocked on it, tried keys, and there's nothing.
I think what the children will have tried to like try and check in and stuff like that. Maybe pile on top of each other to see if there's any way in at the top, but there doesn't seem to be anywhere in.
I propose a motion. We get the children to lift it up and carry it away with us. It is a time-traveling device. It's a very powerful bargaining tool.
Any other comments from the members?
I'm not necessarily opposed to this, but I need more of a reason than that if I'm going to vote with you.
I would like to put forward that we get the children
Do you want to travel
us.
back in time? If we take it, you can travel back in time.
That's very.
We
very
just need
good.
to find the special kind of person. I would put forward that we should take this with us, helping the children carry it, because at some point, an indestructible battering ram might come in real handy.
Who knew?
I'm not lifting it with these nails.
The biggest weapon of this whole time was children plus
TARDIS.
TARDIS. Could have won
like
so many wars.
I want to play the Cards Against Humanity version of this game now. So bad.
All right. So what? Sorry. What's the proposal again? Sorry.
My proposal, Bobby's proposal, I should say, is that we have an army of children. Let's just half-inch the thing, get the children to lift it up and carry it off with us. And I'm convincing Jason to go along with this because the Jazz's people, what's the Jazz's
people
front?
People's front.
Jazz's people front want to travel back in time. This is a way to do it. If it belongs to someone else, you can't do it. But if we just kind of like take it away, then yeah. And little children they've had their fingers, can get into little places and open things up.
Okay,
I know
so
they're a union, and so they might have an opinion about this. But
they do, but they are children.
This is playing into your political beliefs here, and kind of what your main goal is.
What's your response? Your rebuttal?
The children being children are like, yeah, I think we could help out. We could even get Jason on board, but me speaking as the children said, we will give Bobby our vote if we can name the box Grand, since it could be an indestructible battering ram used later.
I think it's an important thing to know. They're children, which means they don't get a vote.
Oh,
They're under. Oh, you're right. They
yeah.
are under 18.
They're under 18.
Good call.
And they
Good
don't
call.
get a
Okay.
vote.
Thankfully, it's not been used really to.
It's not been used to do anything that hasn't been
it's-
unanimous.
Exactly. So, phew, fine. Good choice of that. So yeah, they're really keen, but like the eldest is like 12 and it's like, sorry, can't do anything.
Yeah, I guess they will. I'll just like narratively, they convince Jason to give Bobby the vote.
Do they also narratively convince you to put in the argument about calling it Grond?
I'm gonna just roll randomly.
Yeah.
Bobby, choose even or odd.
Even, because I
It's
go
odd.
against the odds.
It is. I rolled a 3, so it's odd. Wait, I didn't even say what was gonna.
Yeah.
Be.
The children are confusing you. They're like,
Yes.
it's okay. We can't vote, but here's all the reasons why you should take it.
Yes,
You're the
I guess
union leader. You get to carry our vote.
since Bobby would love to have a Grand, but chose the wrong, I'm going to say no. I do not include that in my argument, and
Fair
we do
enough.
not have Grand.
I love the idea though now, instead of Jezza's People's Front, it's actually now Jason's People's Front, and you have the kids behind you.
Are we also going to get people front? Are they going to split though at some point and become the people's front of Jason?
Oh well, that's for a later one.
Actually, I'm not sure it's People's Front of Jason. I think it's People's Front of Jazza.
So
No, there's now 4 of them. There's
there's
Jazz's
too
people
many.
front, people front of Jazza, Jason's people front, and the people's front of Jason. There's now
if they all
regiments going
meet,
on.
it's just going to be chaos. So voting for Jason's People's Front, Jason's resource to help take the Sidrat with you. Because I will say this is the end. This is the end of the day, so you can't move just now. But all those in favour, if you want to do it secretly, fine by. I'm two. Excellent. So yeah, Mr. Cleaver also in there, I'm sure.
Always.
Mr. Cleaver is a good spoon. Always follows the master.
All right, so you have so there's a couple of testing, making sure they can lift it up as well. And it's like, yeah, we can definitely try tomorrow when we move on, because it's the end of the day just now for that.
I just want to check. We did just all vote this, and we can write this into party law, that we can convince children to be thieves.
The children can move the Sidrats. I think that's the thing. Where take them with you. That would be the law.
The children can use the
The
Sidra as
proposal
an
was that
indestructible
we
battering ram.
The proposal was that we steal it.
In which case, we might want to confirm this, because I added the addendum there. Because I was all on board with stealing it, but I was all on board of using it as a indestructible battering ram.
I think the idea that we've convinced the children to steal it, and then there's a load of addendums on the end of it. One is called Grom.
You can
Two,
propose
it can be
those
used as a
after
battering
that.
ram.
Yeah.
3, it might be at some point maybe used as a time travel device to go and steal Margaret Thatcher.
The
So I think-
Grand addendum.
Yeah. So I would suggest then that first part is written into party law should you want to, and then you can add the addendums later should you need to.
Agreed.
If that's helpful.
Is this
So-
like the Constitution, where you have your extra bits that you add on to the end of it?
Absolutely.
Just keeps
America.
getting
It can be
longer.
modified at will by random small cabals
Votes.
of
Yeah.
powerful people.
As long as
Like
for the-
small little ankle biter children that they can modify everything.
they don't have a
Anyway.
vote, but sure. But you can. I will say this for rule clarity as well. Any law that's made into the party manifesto, they have to be law for at least one day before they can be repealed as well. So any of the previous ones can also be done as well, just so you know that for the next time if needed. But as you're settling down for the night, you hear a bit of scrabbling coming down from one end of the station platform, and suddenly out of the darkness appears a very smart-looking person. They have really frizzy hair and a long coat made up of different fabrics and different patterns and stuff. And they go, excellent, fantastic. Come, Perry, they're here. And an American lady also appears and is like, oh, doctor, I can't believe you. Where are we? This is brilliant. We're underground. Yes, the London Underground. Yes. Well, I don't know what. I think we might have been off a little bit there, but don't worry, Perry. It'll be totally fine. Hello. Oh, yes, I remember. We are the party members. I am the Kronos doctor. Here is my assistant, Perry. And we're here to save things, make sure put things right. Essentially, we've been hearing there's been some disappearances. Yes, at a station nearby, Mogg's End. Yes. And realizes that you folks aren't talking, and so mutters and goes into silence, waiting expectantly.
Bobby just stares at them.
Did you say you was a colonoscopy doctor?
No, very similar, but not quite. No, a Kronos doctor, Kronos assistant, a Kronos aristocrat, I think they call it in your times.
It means time, Maggie.
I'm not dense, Bobby. I just misheard him. All right, so you're an aristocrat.
Yes. Well, I prefer the term doctor myself. And there's my Sidrat.
Oh, just as doctor. Just as a quick hint, I wouldn't use the A word around these people. It tends to end up with
Maggie sort of like takes off the remains of like the Julia Child red polka dot thing, and just like on across her back is again another self-done tattoo, and it's just like number of toffs oft, and just like flexes and just goes, all right then, children, we're about to learn a very important thing about unions, which is what happens when the aristocracy goes against them. And I would like to put forward a motion. There are no aristocrats remaining, and there can never be more aristocrats to remain. This is how we got into this problem. So we off the top.
Any other adds to this proposal, Jason?
No, I think Jason would be 100% on board with this. This is very in line with his character.
You're like, my vote of approval there.
Yes.
Bobby's going to be the sensible one here, weirdly. I'm going to turn around and go, I don't think we should. This person looks like they might have keys to the time machine. Maybe we get them to help.
To the child that brings me the keys.
Okay, so the proposal is using all your forces to try and off the toff, i.e. the Kronos aristocrat that's appeared. Please secretly vote to send me the things. It'll be interesting.
I can't believe we're voting to whether to kill the doctor or not.
He's not the doctor. He's an aristocrat. He had his opportunity. He chose his name.
With a 3-1, the motion passed. So, okay, let's go into this. So this is what we call a ruckus. This is a fight sort of thing. Yeah, rooks are situations where the party fights over groups or individuals referred to as rooks. Can resolve in any way that any resolution roll. However, I have say if you have more successes, you succeed if you're at disadvantage. So let's go through the conditions first to see what you need. So currently you've got to get at least 3 successes, which you've been doing amazingly so far because you've got big numbers of that. So are you significantly outnumbered as a party? No. It's 2 people versus several people. Do you have guns?
Do you fight on the side of the doctor?
We'll get to that in a second. Hang on, we'll get to that in a second. If the party has no guns and is fighting a group or individual who do have guns, no one has guns. So that's that out of the way. If the party is fighting a group or individual that's significantly better training or equipment, not for fighting, no.
Yeah, the doctor doesn't fight, the doctor runs away, and we have his running away device.
You do. So that's the one difficulty down.
But the doctor is also about 1 million times more intelligent than us.
But I would say like they won't be willing to fight, so that will be in your favor. If the party is fighting someone in home territory or in a defensive position, I'd say you've got quite a good defense position, right?
We were staying here the night. We couldn't move this, so we
have a defensive wall of children.
And the doctor doesn't mess with kids.
If the party is outflanked and fighting foes from multiple directions, you're not, so that's fine. If you're fighting on hazardous ground, such as an area with pit traps or is covered in slippery grease. So I don't think you've only got, I think you are outnumbering the doctor. So that difficulty comes out. I think you're going to need 2 successes, essentially, to make this. So yes, so remember, stat, any relevant skill, any relevant stuff, any relevant mates if you want.
Would anyone like to go first? Because I've worked out my... Oh, David, you might want to know here about fighting for the doctor.
Yes, the motion has been carried that the party is going to fight the Doctor. You can choose, David, to not put any dice in at all. That's the thing. You could literally be like, I'm not doing anything. You see what I mean? Reducing your dice pool. That's what I would suggest for that. But we'll go to Jason first, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Man, I still feel like it would be hench and unionized as long as I have children with me. So the children are going to help with the caveat that if I roll a 1 on my children roll, they are going to end up having inter-minion pack politic fights splitting in between the union and Bobby's sort of like pro-capitalist thing, and will exit the scene as they sort of get into a council and debate. In the student
they will be removed from the scene, which does not involve killing or dying. Absolutely. So you've done. So you've got your hench and unionize, and you're going to use the children. Is there any stuff you'd like to use for this as well, or are you okay?
Well, my notebook, pen, and pencil is one item.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to lead these children with dual wielding a pen and pencil into battle.
The pen is mightier than the sword, Jason.
Yes. Yes. 1,000%. I love that. All right, we'll go to Maggie next. That's all right.
So I'm going to ask if I can use my hench, because this is a brawl and ruckus. I'm then going to use my kneading skill, because these arms have killed toffs. I have a weapon, which is a rolling pin. I have my baker's assistant. And then I'm going to ask if I can get a little weird here, Fiona, if you're comfortable with it.
Yep. Talk it up.
I have the last bag of flour. Flour, in particulate form, is highly explosive.
Of course, you've had it for so long.
So this is very premium dry flour.
Oh my word.
So I'm going to ask to use that as my stuff thing. And if I roll a 1, we know what happened to it. And if I don't roll a 1, then clearly Maggie has used flour as an explosive before and knows how to use it accurately. But I will be adding 7 dice to this.
Amazing.
Because Maggie killed tops.
Yep. I love that. I think that's amazing. And then we'll go to Bobby.
I want to see if we can maybe role play something here. Like, Bobby doesn't want this fight to happen.
Sure.
But I also don't want to not roll anything.
Sure.
So what I want to kind of put forward as an idea is that I'm going to roll some dice, but it's more of a kind of keeping them apart and stopping them from fighting. So sitting in the middle and saying, no, please don't hit each other.
Getting in the way, essentially.
Kind of getting in the way, essentially.
Okay.
So I want to use my hench and my Tai Chi to kind of do Kung Fu Panda deflect bullet shit.
Okay.
So if the fight happens, I also kind of want them to not hit each other.
Right.
So,
yeah. You're not. If it gets to like close to blows, you sort of it just happens to move out the way ever so slightly. That sort of thing.
Yeah. So
we can work on that in.
Whether they win or not, what it basically come if I at least get 1 success or something, there is no serious injuries caused, but maybe the doctor or something fucks off and I don't actually get access to it or something.
We can have it double dice.
But on top of that, I want to use my car keys, which are a weapon. And I want to use the empty bottle of whiskey as a kind of an idea of another weapon, just to kind of maybe if someone picks up a stick to hit someone, I knock it out of their hand or something. So I just kind of want to stop injuries from happening because I want to keep the doctor alive. It's up to you. You can say no, and I will just not roll anything and not be involved in the fight.
I'm going to say this. How about this? I think you can, because I think it basically gets into a bit of a brawl sort of thing situation there. So I think you're going to, if you roll any successes, we'll do that narratively. What I will say though, because you're going against the party line, because they have voted to do it, I'm going to add another two dice to the party anxiety. So there's more of a risk of getting a 1 as a result, if that's okay with folks. Because I want people to roll as well. All right, so everyone roll their sets of dice and let me know what they get. No failures on the the party anxiety, but is up to 4 now. So I'll make a note of that.
So yeah, I got 2 6s and a 5, so 3 hits there.
Yep.
I did roll a 1 on the children, and I also rolled a 1 on my pen and notepad.
So that what we discussed. So the kids start infighting between themselves, like calling each other names and stuff like that. And in the hubble, as you're trying to stop people from like you were like trying to unionize, somebody snatches your pen and pencil out of your hand, and before you know it, they've parted ways down different corridors. So the children have left you, and they've taken
like
your pen and pencil.
You could take it the fact that children have stolen the pen and paper and are writing their own manifesto.
Yeah.
To deal,
Yes.
Writing a peace
Beautiful.
treaty between the two parties.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, so
Nice.
brilliant stuff. Maggie,
got 6 successes
bloody hell,
on 7 dice because the lowest I rolled was a 4.
amazing. All right, good to know. And Bobby,
My hench didn't pass, just 3 and a 2.
3 and a 2.
My Tai Chi
Mhm.
got a 5.
Oh, so it's a partial success.
My car keys, I got a 5.
Mhm.
My bottle, I got a 1.
Oh no.
Bye bye, bottle.
Oh, I like the idea. Again, I'm going to assume this for ease. Like, it's not like it's like there'll be like odd punches and stuff, but it's like Batman style, like kapow, boo, etc. And then you just see a bottle smash on the floor, and go smash, like big letters and stuff like that.
Do you not know how rare that is?
So yeah, that's
Was
another.
now?
It was so worthless. It's even now more worthless. So basically, it's the highest result gets it, and because there was so from what you did, you folks before, it was free. You needed 3 successes, and then obviously you reduced it down anyway because of the fights. The things were, so it was then 2. But basically, the whole point of this mechanic is that if I roll a 1 on the party anxiety dice, that's everything fails. So you could put in as big a pool as you want, but as soon as there's a 1 on the party anxiety dice, then that action fails. So that's why I was sort of adding up to it like there as well. But what happens essentially is that there is just a massive kerfuffle, scuffle essentially, and for whatever reason, we'll pan away slightly. What is left of the Doctor and what is left, of the Kronos aristocrat and their worthwhile assistant.
Protect the copyright.
Yeah, absolutely. Their companion, their associate. It's just a very lovely, colourful jacket, long thing that's been torn into pieces and shreds. And there's no sign of this Doctor or this assistant. And I say with those successes as well, you managed to find within one of the pockets, from the many, many pockets of this thing, you managed to find a weird-looking key.
Does it look like a screwdriver? Or shall we say a spanner?
The key itself looks like a diary key, so really small and flimsy.
I think Maggie sort of shrugs back on the torn off sleeve Julia Child's top again and just picks up the key and goes, "Right then, Jason. Well, I'm sure the children will return when they've sorted out their diplomatic differences. They'll maybe better for it. But, well, I guess what I put to you is that we can save the day right now, or we can go back to the 80s, find my 80s version of myself, convince them that the world will end if we don't take down Thatcher, and take down Maggie Thatcher."
Also, I do recommend that we put some £1 into stocks of Google, Apple, and a few other companies, and
Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon.
And also make a note to say don't touch this thing called crypto.
Enron. We should warn them about Enron.
Enron is a bad thing as well. Yeah.
I mean, well, I'll tell you what, why don't we all, and I'll put forward a motion here, why don't we take a moment, because we are in a safe space, and identify all the shitty things that we can remember living through that we could do something about, because we know the outcomes. So we
could
know.
remake it as Lugal.
I think that might lead to more problems than it's due, but by investing in it, we can become major shareholders and change their attitudes, and you still get rich, but we can also fulfill Jason's needs for violent unionization of, corporate megastructure. Look, all I'm saying is somewhere out there in this world, there are 7 grandchildren of mine, all right? Now, if you think I'm a badass, imagine the 4 kids I raised that produce 7 grandchildren, all right? I have no doubt that they're fine, but I prefer them not to have to grow up in a post-apocalyptic wasteland that, well, we don't remember the event, but I don't want to know what it's like for people who live in topside right now. So
I inherently agree with everything you're saying. We should definitely go back to the 1980s and stop this disaster. And the disaster was the best thing that we should stop, because there's obviously a really, really bad thing. And obviously putting money into investments so that we are rich and we can make things better in the future, that's a side point. Bobby is obviously just like going along with this because Bobby has very much all of that insider trader knowledge that he knows that he can go back to.
You still have all the money.
Screw both of you over and become Lord.
That is fair. What about Jason? Is there anything you want to add to this proposal? Any for or against?
I'm really digging into the puns and Easter eggs here with this one. Okay.
Go for it.
Since we are time traveling, I recommend that we time travel back to May 20th, 1980, which was the premiere of The Empire Strikes Back in London, and Margaret Thatcher, who is PM right now, is attending, and that is when we're going to target her.
So the proposal, as I understand it, is to use the Sidrat to go back in time to May 20th, 1980, and assassinate Margaret Thatcher.
At the London premiere of
The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
And also to invest a lot of money into companies and
yes, Bobby, yes.
All those in favour of this proposal?
Aye.
Oh, unanimous. Who knew? Great.
I think we can put this into party manifesto.
Bobby kind of slightly wants to go a little bit further back because Bobby wants to stop Margaret Thatcher from destroying the coal mining industry. But that's a side point, and we'll have an argument about that later.
Yeah, I think you're like, we've agreed a date. We know where she'll be at this particular time. So we'll do.
Are we just basically now doing Inglorious Bastards?
Pretty much, yeah. What I'm going to say, we're going to do one final roll because I have an ending to this now. So we're going to do one final roll. Your resolution. So the motion has passed. You can get into the Sidrat. You can do this. So I need a stat. I need any relevant skills, any relevant stuff, any relevant mates.
Okay. I'm ready to go if everyone else wants a bit more time.
What I'm going to say as well, just so folks know, because I don't want to surprise people. You have only heard of the Sidrat in stories. So I'll say for much, you open it up and you are overwhelmed by it. None of you currently have ever in the past driven or operated one of these things before. So the difficulty is going to go up a little bit. So I'm just going to give that.
Is this where my Sunday driving comes in?
Maybe.
So I'm gonna put forward noggin intelligence. And then because we know that the Sidrat is legally distinct, I don't think it has a traditional engine in any regard.
No.
I think it has a big, giant furnace or pizza oven looking thing.
Oh, does it?
I'm gonna ask to put forward baking 3 with my baker's assistant, and again, the last bag of flour from this timeline, as I'm going to bake us back to 1980. And I'm going to find a 1980s appropriate baking recipe to be performing.
That sounds
good. And we use party resources on this roll.
What are you thinking? Describe.
I was thinking of maybe part of the time travel magic is using Scran, but we're expending it. It's not a roll. It's not a random roll. We're going to gamble up to 4.
It's the converter from Back to the Future. Feeds in food to power it.
Flux capacitor.
I'll be making. 1 minute. See if I can find if this is. I think this is a Julia
pineapple
Child's
upside down cake.
Well, I think this is a Julia Child's recipe, so I want to make sure because that would be the epitome of this.
So in terms of using Scran, what I will say is that you do a Scran roll anyway, and if it's not a 1, I mean, I'd roll it. You have to roll a scan roll anyway, but then you can add a d6 into it. I think there's only so much because it's not about. I mean, the amount of food is one thing, but maybe it's like the quality of the food as well. I would say. So yeah, I'd give you one more d6 on that rather than that. But yeah, you still have to roll a d10 and see what it is. So you can do that now if you want, so you can see.
A crepe gatto, which is apparently a Julia Child recipe, her own variation on her theme. Oh, say crepe forays is hers. Crepe filled with almond cream.
I rolled a 2 on my d10.
Ooh, lucky. So yes, that doesn't go down. Doesn't really matter. We're almost at the end, but yeah, you're going to add a d6 to your particular box as well. So that's fine. So Jason, do you want to talk through your thing, or have we done that? Sorry.
I'm rolling before I talk through it, I guess. But so dash for 1 so that I can use Chasing Fox Hunters, which is 2. So I only get 3 dice plus the scram, which would be 4 dice. Is that how I get a 4th for the scram? Okay.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. And Bobby?
I am going to use my Bants.
Mm-hmm.
So Bants for 1. It allows me to use my insider trading for 3.
Mm-hmm.
I am then also going to use my briefcase of notes because it's money and will be useful back then. And I'm also going to use my Rolex watch, which will show me as a rich and powerful person back in the 80s, because it will be a lot shinier and a lot more expensive because it will be rare and nobody will have ever seen it. He obviously applies that to the Rolex, but also doesn't apply it to the money, which is probably useless in the 80s because it was probably printed in the late 90s. But that's a different matter.
That sounds good. I'm just checking.
That gives me 5 dice.
I'm just checking because it doesn't technically say in the rules how much stuff you can have. I assume you can only add 1 stuff, but it's the end of the game. I don't mind. You've got money and you've got a Rolex. You're gonna do well. Let's face it. So that's fine with me. I just wanted to double check because I want to get the rules right. But that's
bling.
So I'm just gonna say from my side, I've upped the anxiety again by 2 because I realised I should have given myself a +1 when David died, and also because you've also got into a fight recently, so that's got up. So I'll be rolling 6. Yeah, a fight. A 6 anxiety dice on this as well. So everyone roll their dice and let me know what you folks.
None of that is my fault. I did nothing wrong with that at all. I did not make the group anxious at all.
Mm-hmm.
I only got 2 successes, but no ones.
I got 4 successes, but the bag of flour is gone, making crepe forays.
Whoa. And then David, 3 successes, yeah?
3 successes. Mm-hmm. But apparently my watch cannot deal with traveling back in time.
Yeah, it's sort of...
a 1 on it.
It just... It goes back and forth violently, essentially, and cracks and then stops in place. So I'm gonna tell you the rolls I got on the party dice one at a time, okay? So, in order, I got a 3, a 6, a 4, a 3, a 5, and a 6. So, what happens is that you realize, like, working together, even though you've had your past differences, one of you died yesterday, but you're back, and you realize that, the system, it doesn't work unless we bond together, and this is the only way you're going to do it. So you do the baking thing, the flour, it was never any good. It was sourdough after all. I knew it. And you just slowly make those crepes and stuff like that, and the clock, everything like that starts whirring, and as the Sid Rat disappears, fades and dematerializes off wherever the Ramonas may go, there is on the floor some words, almost like a slogan, also sort of scribed in sort of graffiti, and it says, I wrote it down, it says Flow Dab, and that is where we're going to end today's session.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this.
No. No, brilliant. Well, thank you, my players. Thank you for this.
Goddamn Doctor Who references.
The What Am I Rolling podcast was created, recorded, and edited by me, Fiona Howat. This episode's players were David, Ben, and JT. This episode's RPG was Shadow of Mogg, post-Brexit tabletop RPG, written by Paniotis Lyons and published by Leyline Press. You can find out more information about Shadow of Mogg and get your own copy on the Leyline Press's website. That's leyline.press. The theme music was 8-Bit March by Twin Musicon, twinmusicon.org, licensed under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. If you want to find out more about the podcast, check out the website. That's www.wairpodcast.com. Fancy getting in touch? Email the podcast at whatamIrollingpodcast@gmail.com. Finally, follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at WAIR_podcast for the latest news on upcoming episodes. And remember, adventurers need not apply.